Hi everyone, my name is Maor and welcome to my YouTube channel. This channel is dedicated for those that are working on their spiritual awakening. Today I would like to discuss something that has literally changed my life, a pattern or a trend that I recognized within everything in our day-to-day activities, including our spiritual development, our muscles, our relationships, our jobs, pretty much everything. Now, before that, I had difficulties, negativities in my life. Sometimes you try to forecast what's going to happen, right? We are all very curious about the future. And when you don't get that forecast or when you have an expectation, then you are miserable. In other words, you fail to meet that expectation and then you feel like you failed in some way. And then, the victimization begins and you start thinking negative things about yourself, judging the world, not taking responsibility, things like that. Another thing that happened was I got bored. It's either that I got bored in my relationship, I got bored with my job, I got bored with my body, I got bored with the things that I do on a day-to-day basis. I didn't really ground myself because I was expecting something that didn't really happen. Doesn't matter in what, like in everything. So today I would like to talk to you about the trends and the cycles and something that will deeply and profoundly affect once you start seeing this trend in your life. Now, we all know that there are cycles in life, right? There's the cycle of the seasons, 4 seasons on planet Earth right now. There's a cycle of a woman once a month, for example, she gets her period. It can also be an emotional cycle. There's a cycle of the body itself. Every 7 years, all the cells regenerate. There's the thinking cycles as well, and there's cycles and trends of energies that are coming from outside of the planet that are actually influencing us as well. Some of you already know the forecast of 2012, 1111, the different gateways, energetic gateways and stuff like that. Today I would like to take that to the next level. I want you to see what we call the uptrend. Whoops, I finally got us a board. So check this out. Now what we see here are that each low, the next low is higher than the previous low, and the next high is higher than the previous high as well. This is almost everything in life, okay? Notice this. Notice one Hollywood movie will be something like this. Let's take this section right here, okay? So we have the beginning. In the beginning, we meet the character. The character should kind of be like us. Not too special. It doesn't have to be the most awesome looking guy or woman or anything like that. We're building up the plot right here, up here, towards this climax. Oh my God, amazing. This guy knows 7 languages. This guy meets an amazing girl. They fall in love. And this is the peak. Peak that everything is fine. We know the characters right now. And then there's like this downtrend right here where something bad happens. The bad guy wins something, he loses the girl with a huge fight or something like that, only to rediscover, and then again we're moving up again to another plot, and this somewhere around here is the happily ever after, okay? Now our life moves in these type of uptrend cycles. In other words, we begin from here. Let's take our job for example. So we get out of high school, either we learned in a college or university or anything like that, and we start off right here in what we call the mailroom, for example. And then we get a better job sometimes in life, and sometimes we have something that like a step back or something slight or anything like that. And then again, every year our expectation and our intention to get more abundance, to get more money, have more contacts, or find better jobs, better offers. It all depends on our mental abilities, of course, our manifestation abilities according to our belief in ourselves. So this is why, for example, we always go upwards in life, having more and more abundance and never actually going backwards. The only backward can be if something financial collapse have happened or some outside external circumstance that we cannot control. I'm not saying these things don't happen. This is like the 80% type of thing. Now, same thing happens when we mature, right? Our spiritual maturity. Every time we get to a certain level and then we stop, it's time to internalize. We read a lot of books, we gain a lot of knowledge, we meet a lot of mentors, we see a lot of YouTubes, and then we stop for a while, we go down for a minute, internalize everything, incorporate it into our lives, and then we come again, another uptrend cycle. In other words, if you ever have this period of time that you read a lot of books and then you stop and you start blaming yourself for not reading a lot of books, not getting in more insights, that's because you're in this stage of the cycle of internalizing the seeking. In the beginning, seeking, 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 and then you stop, you take a breath. This is an in breath. This is out. This is an in breath. This is out. You're already familiar with this, only you know this from different cycles, the regular cycles of life. Up and down and up and down and up and down. This is really cricket, sorry. A man after all. So when we're talking about this, think about these different things in your life. For example, you used to work out. And when you worked out, you have built your muscles. And now your muscles have a memory. And now when you stop working out for a while, and everybody does that, you know, you have a kid, you go to college, university, you don't have time for yourself, you're pretty much simply neglecting your body, which is something that we all seem to do. And then in that time, your muscles don't deteriorate completely. Why? Because on the next time, they have a memory. They remember, and you will see that 3 or 4 times that you work out, that you exercise, gym or running or whatever, you go back to the same shape and even better, even higher. If you'll check out the second video I did about Tantric Sex, this is exactly it, okay? When you have normal sex, this is the climax, which everybody wants to reach. When you start having Tantric Sex, then what you see is you get to the 70-80%. I highly recommend that video, by the way. Then you go down a little bit, you internalize, you breathe, you spend some time making out, and then again, you go back up. And here again, you can climax, having a stronger orgasm potentially than what you originally could have had, or you can do another cycle. Now, if you do this for 30, 40, 50 minutes, you'll get an amazingly strong orgasm, much longer than the 2-3 seconds that most of the population experiences right now. Now, another example can be our spiritual understandings. What do I mean? I mean that we are born right here, and then with time we grow and we mature. We understand certain things. Suddenly we understand the difference between good and bad. Suddenly we understand that we start believing in something. It can be God, it can be reincarnations, but we never go back. Our going back is only internalizing what we have already learned. We can understand hypothetically here that everything is one, but we've learned to meditate, and we internalize meditation and mindfulness exercises into our life. So we're always growing, always maturing. The whole experience is to get a higher vibration. Now, this can be experienced in one life. This can also be explained in the multiple lives. In other words, one life can be right here, all pleasant and good. One life, you suffered. And then another life, you went up again. But every time, your experience was aggregated. Every time you added to your experience. In other words, still the upwards trend. This is quite amazing, because when you understand this, you also understand that you cannot expect to always go up. It doesn't make sense. It's unbalanced. And yet you can't expect to always go down as well. What I'm actually saying is that the way you can use this is understand that you can break down everything in your life, the different categories of your life, and understand where you are right now. Sometimes you're just stalling right here. This is great. This is being in the 8, 9 out of 10, which is awesome. This is what we should strive for. And then you go down to the 6, and then you should ask yourself, wait a second, what is the next big thing that's going to happen to me? If it's in my job, is this a new project? Is this a new relationship? Is this something that I have to do with my body? Is this something that is external to me or internal to me? Now, when I break this down, is this my relationship with my mom? How was it? When did we begin? When did we climax? When did we descend again? What is it now? What can I expect? It's like climbing a mountain. When you climb a good mountain, it looks like you're going to reach the peak. But when you get to that peak you thought is the peak, you actually see that there is another peak and another peak and another peak. And this is endless. This is the amazing thing. It's literally endless. We always strive for perfection, but we can never be perfect. God is perfect, right? We are here to experience being perfect in an imperfect way, in other words. So think about how you find these trends in your life and write a comment. Let me know, because I see this in so many different things. In finances as well, You go up in your finances and then you have a small slip, You can invest in something that's bad, you wasted too much of your money and your time, and then again, you climax again and again and again. It's always more. It's always just more. So think about the trends that you see in your own life. It can be in a relationship with somebody close to you, in your own relationship. This can be with your children. Think about this in the development of your physical body as well. For me, for example, I am I'm a very healthy person. It's hard to even understand how healthy because I just don't get sick. So I don't really think in healthy and unhealthy anymore. I'm just always healthy. So in the beginning, before I did my Breatharian initiations and I started working on, the mind, body, spirit things, I used to get sick. And when I used to get sick, I used to not understand why this is actually happening. I worked out, everything was fine, but I didn't understand that it was emotional. This was my emotional uptrend. I always went up and then I didn't realize what's going on. Heartbreak, losing some money, difficulties in my life, experienced different fights and arguments with friends or with ex-relationships, and then again and again and again, until one day I figured out what was wrong with me and what I need to work on, because it's all an internal story. It's an internal struggle that we're facing. It doesn't have to do anything with the outside world. Our soul wants to experience. Our soul wants to be creative. Our soul understood that the path back to the light, to God, to unity, to the absolute, as some might call it, is always a path that goes up. But in that path, we have to have some struggles. We have to have some findings. We have to have some experiences that are not necessarily positive. In other words, our soul wants to have this trend back up towards the light. Sort of like a flower always looks up. Now, when a flower blossoms, it's up here. And then again comes the rain and comes some dark days and it doesn't have a lot of sunshine, stuff like that. It goes down a little bit. And then again, up, shining. This is the same with everything in our life. This is our vibration. Now, you can have a total uptrend a lot for a very long time, depending on your own cycles. And then you'll just have a small setback, as one might call it. Same thing with becoming vegan, becoming vegetarian. Same thing with changes in your life. You have to sometimes, you inflate the wheel, but you have to let just a little bit of air out. Otherwise, you put too much pressure on yourself. This is what happens with perfectionists, right? We want to exercise five times a week. And then when we don't exercise 5 times a week, we kind of feel bummed out about it. Now, something that was our source of motivation has now become the source of our stress. So once again, think about the different categories in your life. Think about where you have these type of trends in your own life. And just compare where you used to be to where you are today in everything. Again, in your finances, in your fitness, in your relationship, and you will always see that you're always moving upwards. The stock markets generally always move upwards. Once in a while, you have a crash, a serious crash. But overall, if you look over the last 150 years, they're always trending up. Same thing with us as human beings. Same thing with our souls. Same thing with one incarnation or with the overall incarnation, the overall story of who we are. Always learning, always expanding. Now again, this is an in breath, going up, inhaling, seeking, understanding, getting more knowledge, exercising, doing things that are more about ourselves, and then again, out. We are breathing out, we are letting go, we are internalizing, we are accepting, waiting and preparing for the next uptrend in our life. So my friends, thank you very much for paying attention. Thank you very much for watching my video. If you enjoyed this video, please like it or comment right down here. I try to review the comments at least once a week. So, my name is Maor. Namaste.